Hi everyone. A few videos back, I had spoken about 2 points of confusion that I had with India's practice as far as international trade was concerned. And not just I read it at other places also, that there were certain confusions in certain pockets uh, of people who think about these issues. Otherwise, most of us check out information, or not just information, most of us check out different things on various different mediums, and this is definitely not one of the most explored mediums, this particular stream. Anyway, so 2 points of confusion were, if it is legible, if not, I'll speak them out loud. Yes. So these points of confusion were: why does India export 40 to 50% of its refined oil outside? Second is, why in 2015, because this is the only available data. So why was the food import bill was this much? So 12 zeros after one. So this was a point of confusion. India is said to be self-reliant in food. Then why does this happen? And not soon after that, I found that all those countries that were believed to have absolute advantage in a certain sector or product or good, as we call it, they also import the goods that they are supposedly having absolute advantage in. So that's one blind spot that most of us have. Most of us who believe in a linear way of thinking will believe that if your country is good at producing something, it will not import the same thing from other place. Now I'll give you example. Like US is supposedly has absolute advantage in production of corn, but it also imports corn, and it exports 83% of its corn outside to other countries, and it imports corn from places like Brazil. Now, as I said, this was one blind spot. Another, because it is a point of confusion. Another example is Brazil, that produces most coffee in the world, but it also imports coffee. It imports roasted coffee from outside. Why was it happening? This is happening because of a reason. Yeah, I hope it is visible. If not, let me just adjust things a little bit. Most of us clarity oriented people who think in a certain way would think that this is all about economics, that this is the demand, this is how the demand functions, this is how the demand curve is, that when the price is high, the quantity demanded is low, and when the price is low, the quantity demanded is high. This is how we know supply as, that at a very low price, the quantity supplied would be less. At higher prices, quantity supplied would be high. And when these two curves, they intersect, this is your equilibrium, and this is the price. This is how the price is decided. Clear, isn't it? We have always thought this way. So if X is the amount of any good that's demanded in a country, and Y is the supply, so this particular square, as you see here, is this. However, there is a small little difference that comes into the picture when we are talking about international trade. This amount, one that is traded, is exported outside. So there is always certain level of thing, certain portion of things that we do not know. We just know the theoretical part as uh, as people who are interested in economics, as people who have studied economics. We just know the theoretical part. The practical part is something that hardly ever makes the headlines, that hardly comes into the public domain. A, it doesn't come into the public domain. B, we are not interested. Most of us, we are not interested in what's going on. So this shaded portion is the amount that a country exports. How would we then decide the price? There is different complications that spring up. That is why it's only one side of the moon that's visible when it comes to larger things in life. How things actually function is, if let's say the price is decided at 24, demand is something, supply is something, and when they intersect, when these two curves intersect, they intersect, let's say, at the price of 25 or 30. Okay, let's take 30. However, some of the supply that's there in the country is exported outside. It is exported outside because there in other country, the country A is getting more money. It's getting, for let's say, for 1 kg of wheat, which is costing rupees 30 in our country, in country B, that amount would be, let's say, 70 in the Indian currency or in the currency of the country A. So the currency complication is also there, but for simplification, so that they are giving 70 rupees per kg. So these people who are supplying wheat outside, they may not have met the complete demand for the country, but they are earning 40 rupees extra by supplying it outside, minus they'll of course mind, this is after deducting the transportation cost and duties and tariffs and whatnots, so that their net profit is 40 rupees. And of course we are making discounts for this for simplification purpose in the exchange rate as well. So what happens, since the supply has come down, uh, obviously lesser amount of goods are chased by many, a high demand, or many people are chasing small amount of goods, so the price would come up even in country A, even the domestic price would increase. And since in country B they already were producing wheat, now they're getting it from outside, the price would go down. So now they're not giving 70 rupees after a few days, they are giving, let's say, 50 rupees. So just 10 rupees difference. And there would come a time when both the prices would be same in country A and country B. So that's when trading in that particular good is not a profitable proposition. So this is all we know, all those people who are interested in economics, as well as the ones who've studied economics. And we've studied all these theories that present just one part of a multidimensional concept: mercantilism, then absolute advantage, comparative advantage, factor proportion theory, international product cycle, which we've studied already, which I have made a video on, then new trade theories, national comparative advantage theory. They all present somewhat just let's say, insufficient, inadequate picture, because the crux of the matter is this. It all boils down to opportunity cost. So opportunity cost is the return on the foregone option. So, and the formula is FO minus CO, where FO is the return on the best foregone option and CO is return on the chosen option. So in case country A does not choose to export that 1 kg of wheat outside, it would earn 30 rupees, perhaps making 5 rupees to 7 rupees of profit. And if they had exported it outside, they would have earned 40 rupees. So since foregone option is dearer, it promises more profit, so no matter whether the demands of the country is met or not, most of the times, most of the countries, in most cases would opt for exporting that particular good. And that's precisely what is happening in case of petrol. Selling it inside the country would fetch lesser amount and food, as far as food is concerned, even that's exported outside and lesser expensive. The cost, lesser expensive food is imported from outside. So what I mean is, let's take example of wheat again. One of the best wheat quality in the country is considered to be Sharbati or Lokwan. So what happens when it is exported outside? Another country that exports good quality wheat but at a lower cost of production, and that's why it is selling you wheat at a lower cost, that country would be chosen for importing wheat from, like we imported from Australia. So this is what it is. So the food bill was high because we had exported most of the good quality stuff, and we had made makeshift arrangement, or we had compensated by importing those food items from elsewhere that were costing lesser than the cost of production, or the profit would have been saved that way. So this is what it is. So since trade deficit has come down in the country, obviously we are doing well when it comes to trade. Our export is doing well, that is, we are exporting more, there is less deficit. And according to one of the articles in the RBI, which is available on Google, you can search it if you wish, public investments has come down ever since 1980s. So all that extra trading that is done in the country at the cost of increasing demand and increasing price, that is inflation, if it is done and the profits are made, what is it spent on? Because as I said, the RBI, according to RBI's report, public investment has come down since 1980s. It is all spent in revenue expenditure, that is the salaries of the people who are working in the public sector and the government. So what I'm trying to say, the point that I'm trying to make is that most of the times it is the opportunity cost. If you're earning a good deal of amount by selling things outside, even at the cost of demand and prices in your own country, the profits that you're making, what is it spent on? This is something that we do not know. We come to know in bits and pieces about it once in a blue moon, and we fail to make heads or tails out of it. Second thing, we cannot predict, as common people, the demand and supply forces that's acting in the country. We just come to know a minuscule part of the whole economic dynamics operating in the country, and that's the bottom line. That is something that we'll have to make peace with. So I don't know whether you understood the point that I was trying to make, especially if you're not from economics background. If I were to just talk about the crux of it, I would say that we don't come to know the complete picture. We don't come to know the dynamics that are operating uh, outside. The whole data is not given, and then we don't come to know what the country did with the profits. And apparently, since no big investments or no government spending, no public spending, no public investments are done in a major way since last many years, what is that profit going into? It's going into, perhaps, according to the data, in the revenue expenditure, that is in the salaries. And why are they drawing salaries if they are not performing? So this is what another point of confusion is. I would like to explore things, because no matter how inadequate or insufficient data that is available, my interest in the subject does not diminish. All right, bye.